Hey everybody, and welcome back. It's Kristopher, motherfucking McCoy here in the learning corner. Knowledge for you. Today we're going to be learning about our back. And you're like, you're in a different space. No, I'm actually in my house. Let me not get it twisted. There were people who played me, and that's how that went. It's a good thing I have something I built that nobody can take from me. So, we're going to be reading about the back, and we're going to go ahead and jump right into chapter 1, the low back or lumbar spine. So this is 13 to 22, so 10 pages long. So we're going to be reading the 10 pages. So let's go ahead and get to it. There are many publications that set out to tell you how to look after your own back, and you may well wonder why this one should be any different. The reason is that this book shows you how to put your back in if you have been unfortunate enough to have put it out. And in addition, it shows you the steps you need to take to avoid a reoccurrence. I know that you want to get on with the exercises and hasten your recovery process. You will miss some of the vital pieces of knowledge that will help cement the base for your complete recovery. Please read from the beginning. That's what we're doing. You may be one of the thousands worldwide who continues to have reoccurring problems with your back. The attacks are not getting less frequent and may be more dis- disabling than previously. Or is it that you have a chronic problem that is not responding to physical therapy, chiropractic, or the medication prescribed by your doctor? Or have you had surgeries that has failed to correct the problems? You may be reading this book because all else has failed. Low back pain affects nearly everyone at some stage of adult life and is one of the most common ailments. It is often described as fibrosis, slip discs, lumbago, arthritis in the back, or rheumatoid, and when it causes pain extending into the leg, sciatica, which I have that. Our research tells us that few people buy this book for first time problems with their backs. This book provides the most benefit for people with recurring and chronic problems. Our research also tells us that somewhere between 60 to 75% of the population who have back pain once will experience recurring or chronic back problems. Once taught self management, most patients willingly take responsibility for their own care. At least there is light at the end of the tunnel. The majority of over 1,000 patients I see every year for 35 years taught me that the only people who really needed my services were those with reoccurring or chronic back problems. These patients also taught me that most of them could learn to manage their own problem once they knew what to do. Indeed, it became clear that by applying spinal manipulation or adjustment to all my patients, I was prevented from identifying those who required. Copies of this book have been sold worldwide. In the many years since it was the first written, I have received thousands of letters from grateful patients who have found the solution to their problems. It is probably the most inexpensive treatment you'll ever find. The value of Treat Your Own Back was measured in a study by Uterman et al. In 2004, in which the book was given to 62 people with chronic back pain of 10 years average duration. The individuals were then questioned about their back pain 8 months later. High percentages reported they were still following advice from Treat Your Own Back regarding exercises and posture. In these patients, pain magnitude was reduced by over 80%, and 75% of them reported no back pain at 18 months. To most people, low back pain remains a mystery. It often starts without warning and for no obvious reason. It interferes with simple activities of living, moving about, and getting a comfortable night's sleep. And then, just as unexpectedly, the pain subsides. When in acute pain, we are usually unable to think clearly about our troubles and simply seek relief for the pain. On the other hand, as soon as we have recovered from our acute episode, most of us quickly forget about our lower back problems. Experience shows us that when we have developed recurrent low back pain, we repeatedly seek assistance to become pain free. Due to the lack of knowledge and understanding, we are usually unable to deal with present symptoms ourselves and until now have no way of preventing future lower back problems. Management of your back is your responsibility. If you are typically patient, you have If you are a typical patient, you have received from many healthcare professions a variety of treatments: massages, manipulations, heat, acupuncture, various medications such as inflammatories, and injections. Of course, you can get such treatment from specialists such as doctors or physical treatment of your low back. Problems than any other treatment. The majority of back pains are mechanical in nature. That is, they are caused by problems with the moving parts, and therefore certain movements that you make and positions that you adopt can lead to the onset of pain. If pain is already present, they make it worse. If you are typically patient, your problem is worse when bending forward for prolonged periods, and especially if sitting for prolonged periods, such as when driving. It may be difficult for you to rise from the sitting position, and it may take a few minutes before you are able to stand upright properly. Activities such as gardening, digging, vacuuming, making beds, or performing any task that requires you to remain bent forward for any length of time can cause you pain, or if it's already present, make it worse. If you have developed low back pain for the first time, I recommend that you consult a specialist. A specialist clinical who is credentially and diplomatic by the McKenzie Institute International. To find such a clinician, please refer to the website www.mckenziemethod.com. If you are like most patients with mechanical back pain, you are better when moving or worse when you remain in one position for prolonged periods. You feel better when walking and when changing your position frequently. You have periods during each day when the pain is much less, and there are times when it is much worse. You may even have periods when you feel no pain at all. Conversely, you may be one who has pain constantly no matter what you do and need to frequently change your position in order to find some relief. Myths about acute back pain. Myth 1: acute back pain is short term pain. So false, I can tell you all that any day. The claim that back pain is short term problem denies the evidence of research. Many studies show that far from being short term, over 50% of patients suffer from recurring attacks or have persistent symptoms interfering in normal. A 2004 study by Anoth Sagarva and Oberge in 2004 followed patients for 5 years after their first attack of acute back pain and showed for the first time that large numbers of patients have significant ongoing problems that reduce the quality of their lives and interfere with their livelihoods. This study also found that over 50% of patients had developed long-term problems of recurring and chronic back pain. Another research has stated that back pain is really a lifelong problem for some, and education and explanation to instill self-sufficiency is imperative. Myth 2: spinal manipulation is best and most effective treatment for back pain. The treatment of back and neck problems by adjustment or manipulation of the spine has in the past been the most popular form of treatment, used mainly by chiropractors or osteopaths. Since the middle of the last century, physical therapists have also adopted this form of treatment. Consequently, there are now three professions whose main treatment methods involve the use of spinal manipulation. About 80% of patients with common back problems can be taught the self treatment method outlined in this book. Of those, 80% and only 10% will require any form of clinical applied manipulation therapy. Over the past 10 to 20 years, research has shown that the benefits to be obtained from spinal manipulation have been greatly exaggerated by, proponents. The research into manipulation from back pain shows the benefits are unproven because this treatment effect is minor and often has contradictory results by Chaos in 1991 and 1996. Because these passive treatments tend to create patient dependency of Washington and the United States has shown that 1 month after completing treatment, patients who were taught the McKenzie method improved the same degree as patients receiving manipulation by chiropractors. However, the patients receiving the McKenzie method had fewer treatment to achieve that improvement, and 72% of them reported that in the event of reoccurrence, they would manage their own problem. This has great significance for those patients with recurring problems. See Churcha et al. In 1998. It is important that people suffering from back pain are aware that spinal manipulation or adjustment treatment should not be given to the whole population with back pain in order to deliver it to a few who really need it. Spinal adjustment or manipulation should certainly not be used before self treatment measures have proven unsuccessful. Failure to educate a patient in methods that allow him to or her to treat themselves indicates negligence. If you seek treatment for manipulation for physiotherapists, chiropractors, or osteopaths, it is almost certain that you will receive manipulation or adjustment because that is the main weapon for dealing with their problems. With these problems, sorry. Myth 3. Ultrasound treatment and various. I need to turn the heater on. Ooh, it's getting cold. There we go. Get that heat back on. Myth 3. See, that was back manipulation. Probably should have done it, but I felt it, so I did it. Excuse me. Myth 3. Treatment and various electrical therapies are proven to assist recovery from back pain. Not so. In 1995, the United States federal government agency for healthcare policy and research published a list of recommendations commonly used in the treatment of back pain. To this day, no fresh evidence has emerged that would suggest the agency should change its recommendations. These treatments provide no long-term benefit and do nothing to treat the underlying problem, nor is there any scientific evidence that they can accelerate healing. Findings such as these have promoted calls for a review of current methods or treatments such as massages, manipulation, ultrasound therapy, and other passive treatment modalities. Cool. Passive therapy are those in which you lie on a treatment table and the therapist does something to you, such as manipulation or ultrasound. Fortunately, modern methods are moving away from this. These treatments are as they are from these treatments as they create patient dependency and are possibly harmful in the long term, as well as not providing long-term relief. Myth 4. Back pain is caused by inflammation. Talking about back pain. I got a pain right now. Oh my god. My back brace. It's causing me to lean forward. Be careful of the back braces you get. If it makes you lean forward, that is not correct. Give me a second, y'all. Here we go. All right, let's get back to it. Myth 4. Back pain is caused by inflammation. This belief is widespread but generally untrue. Whitelist inflammation does not occur in the presence of certain conditions such as rheumatoid arthritis, ankylosing spondylitis. Sudden onset acute back pain is usually entirely mechanical in nature. That is, it is a result from the spraining of supporting ligaments around the vertebrae in low back or distortion that may result from minor displacement of the intervertebrate disc. This is commonly referred to as slip disc, but the disc does not actually slip. Myth 5. Back pain is caused by arthritis or osteoarthritis. These conditions, which are often described as degeneration of the spine, occur in everyone with aging. The changes can be seen when the spine is x-rayed. It is usually a process of wearing and repairing. But this does not mean that the wearing is a cause of the pain. X-ray evidence of wearing in the joints of the spine is found in people with back pain, as well as in many of those who have never experienced back pain. Myth 6. You should take it easy and avoid vigorous activity. This advice may be necessary for 1 or 2 days after the onset of acute pain, but otherwise it is best to regain your mobility as soon as pain permits. The methods described in this book are designed to shorten the recovery process and will, if performed appropriately, reduce your chances of severe reoccurrence. The secret is to commence the recommended program at the first sign of trouble. Myth 7. You have to stop jogging, running, playing football, golf, or tennis, etc. This is untrue. Thank God. And in most cases, harmful advice. I'm going to just put this out there. My doctor was like, don't do any of this stuff. Literally, it's like no jogging, no running, no doing exercises like that. Now we're reading this is untrue and harmful. There are many other more likely explanations of the onset. Few back problems are seriously enough to justify this advice. While you may have to stop participation in your favorite activities until you recover, permanent abandonment of recreational activity is usually unnecessary. Myth 8. Back pain is caused by damp conditions or the weather or sitting in a drought. Wow. Climate and the weather have often been accused of causing back pain and joint pain. There is some as yet invalidatable evidence that barometric pressure may have some influence on pain experienced during the passage of very high or very low pressure systems. And cold temperatures are also known to increase discomfort in people with inflammatory joint problems. Sitting in a drought has often been blamed for the onset of back pain, but more often it is the sitting posture of the individual that is responsible. So true. None of these events are a cause of joint or back pain. It has been shown repeatedly that patients require rotational explanation for their problems. They need education in posture and exercise that allow them to remain free of disabling symptoms. They need advice on how to avoid the detrimental forces encountered in daily living and apply beneficial strategies. All of these things are found in this book. Choose your clinician carefully. You should be provided with the information and education you require to manage your own problem. Every patient deserves to have the opportunity to learn how to manage their own back pain, and every clinician should be obligated to provide that information. You should seek advice, particularly if there are complications to your lower back. And McKenzie method are members of the McKenzie Institute International who had the credentialing certificate or the diploma in mechanical diagnosis and therapy. For details, please refer to the website www.mckenziemethod.com. And there you have it, y'all. That is chapter 1. Next, we will be getting into chapter 2, learning about our spine. I want to thank you so much for joining me here in the Learning Corner with me, Kristopher, motherfucking McCoy. It is always a pleasure. I hope y'all have learned some things, some myths have been busted. I'll be back shortly and we'll be reading chapter 2. I thank you again for joining. Love you. Be safe out there. Be kind, rewind. Improve your dreams. Remember, every single one of you are beautiful. You're blessed. You're breaking down barriers, boundaries, and borders. Have hope, faith, and love during these trying times because they're definitely tough. Know that every single one of you is a boss. But most of all, my friends, including myself, every single one of you is a motherfucking beast. And beast don't break. My name's Kristopher, motherfucking McCoy. Thank you for joining me in reading the McKenzie Method. Treat Your Own Back by Robin McKenzie. I'll see y'all later. Peace.